Do we have a new automotive dominating company? Well, maybe in a few years. We are now bringing you a new startup called MicroVision Lidar technology. As you can see on the screen, we will cover their earnings call. Do they have the potential to be big? Well, they certainly have a good setup. Hey up everyone, welcome to Martyn Lucas Investor. I'm Vaz, and we are covering the market closing bell. Then we will have a look at MicroVision's numbers coming out a few minutes after the bell, and going to cover their call on the half hour. So what you can see next to me is sort of presentation of their product. What is MicroVision doing and what is their product? Well, let's have a quick look into that before we get to the closing bell in about 13 minutes. I will explain quickly what does this company do, what is their product, and we are ready for the numbers when they come out. MicroVision is a technology company based in Redmond, Washington, focused on perception solution for autonomy and mobility. Originally known for laser projection systems, it has since shifted its core business toward LiDAR and automotive sensing. We have covered few LiDAR companies and few LiDAR startups on our channel, and this could be one of them. So don't go anywhere. Let me talk to you. I've been watching this company. I wasn't following them in past months, and when I saw the progress, I was quite surprised. If we get good numbers, if we get good guidance, this could be a good entry point. So what does MicroVision do? MicroVision develops LiDAR, which is light detection and ranging technology, hardware and perception software for automotive and industrial applications. This system, let me get you a video. Their systems use MEMS, micro electromechanical system, laser beam scanning, integrating optics, sensors, algorithms, and AI to enable a real-time 3D perception for autonomous vehicles and advanced driver assistance systems. And I switched to the wrong scene, I do apologize. Market position and EPS, and this is interesting. This will give you great gauge on where MicroVision stands. MicroVision is currently a small player in the competitive LiDAR and perception ecosystem, currently operating at a pre-revenue and early revenue stage. The company competes with several larger and better funded LiDAR developers, including Luminar Technologies, laser, we've covered these multiple times on our channel, Innoviz, Velodyne, Quanergy, and as well as established automotive suppliers such as Bosch and Continental. Production overview. Their flagship product line, as we can see in the footage and the previous one, is the MOVIA Lidar platform, a solid-state LiDAR sensor designed for integration into autonomous and ADAS systems. It combines hardware and software for object detection, classification, and tracking. MicroVision also offers a perception software stack and sensor fusion solutions. This company's legacy display and projection technologies are now secondary to its automotive focus. I will show you in a minute that MicroVision is not only about cars. MicroVision is about, what was the word? There's a market name for it, but it's applied in warehouses. In example, when you have fork trucks, as a safety measure. It can also be applied in sports and multiple other use cases. So bear with me. A financial situation, we will review them, financial situation. Let's have a look at the stock now. Let's have a look at their stock price. MicroVision, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, it's a penny stock. But we like penny stocks, don't we? We like good potential penny stocks. So MicroVision, let me zoom out. If we have a look at the yearly chart, it's been literally a penny stock. I started following them late last year. somewhere around here. And since it's been just holding above the $1 mark. As I said, MicroVision is a penny stock. It's now in the pre-revenue, or it can be considered as an early revenue phase. However, this can change, and I will tell you why very shortly. Coming to the closing bell, MicroVision is now at $1.07. Is this a good entry point? Well, there's only one way to find out. However, we don't recommend to enter stock, especially highly speculative and pre-revenue stock, before the earnings. This is not a financial advice. This is just a friendly warning. There could be some negative news, and I will explain this right now. And I'm not showing the chart, am I? Okay, so let me offer you the chart again. Typical VAS error. Right, so have a look at the chart. I started following them, I think, somewhere around here, September, August last year. Then I had a break from the stock. It went out of my sight, and now we are back into it for the earnings call, third quarter, and we might get some interesting update. Well, certainly we had some good news recently. As I said, it literally is a penny stock, holding just above the $1 support line. It's been up and down, but we can see the trend is slowly falling. Are we going to break the trend? Are we going to break through the support? Well, there's one. I just caught a comment. There's one way to find out. Let's have a look at their financial situation. And you know what? I will offer you one of their products as well. I love this. Do we have any ice hockey fans? Because you are watching right at one. And I was quite surprised when I saw it. Well, have a look at that. How about that? It's not only about automotive and cars. Their technology has got multiple use cases. And look at how much data it's bringing. It's bringing you speed. It's bringing you fairly exact position. It's screening, or it's taking the size of the object as well. So this has multiple applications, not only in automotive. I'm not saying every ice hockey team in the NHL is going to buy it, but this could be developed into something much bigger. So what is their financial situation? Cash and cash equivalents, approximately 91.4 million. Their cash burn rate is fairly low as well. So that was as of last quarter. We will get an update on this in few minutes. Additional capital access is around 106.5 million. That is at the market facility and convertible notes. So if we look at their cash position, they have a runway for about 6 to 8 quarters as of now. However, I have no doubt we will hear a fresh update on this, and I'm hopeful we can see some positive news as well. Second quarter net loss, $14.2 million, which equals negative 6 cents per share. An improvement from a 23.9 million loss of a year earlier. Revenue. Last quarter revenue was fairly low, only $200,000. However, this is again confirming that MicroVision is in the pre-revenue or very early revenue stage, down from 1.9 million from the second quarter 2024. And I know there were some commitments on cooperations previously, so this was but let's hear the update. I don't want to dive into something I can't explain properly. So let's have a look. Let's wait for the guidance. There were some cooperations with big automotive companies previously. Currently, they have been developing their product, and I have some big news or big cooperation as well in the pipeline. Operating expenses were reduced by approximately 44% year over year. There were some layoffs through the, I think, end of last year, there were some layoffs. And the company remains pre-revenue in the automotive segment, but is extending its cash runway through cost control and financing options. Partnership and customers. They integrated the MOVIA Lidar system with NVIDIA's DRIVE AGX platform for autonomous vehicles. And this could be something we can build on a very good market position. I will be in the chat very shortly. I can see chats coming through. I will address them very shortly. Let me just finish this. Let's have a look at the second quarter, and I will come to the chat and we'll have a look at the markets and close the markets and ring the bell. Recent collaboration with the leading photonics ecosystem to advance LiDAR hardware and perception software integration, active in both automotive and industrial verticals, as already mentioned. Though revenue still originates mainly from industrial customers. No large-scale production contracts reported yet. Second quarter revenue was around $200,000, again fairly low, but we are still in the very early revenue stage, down 90% year over year. Net loss 14.2 million versus 23.9 million of the previous quarter of the previous year. Adjusted EBITDA loss 11.2 million. Cash used in operations 12.7 million compared to 18.6 million a year before. It's obvious that the cash burn control is in place. Analysts expected revenue closer to $500,000. Results fell short, and the company emphasized reduced expenses and progress in platform integrations, but acknowledged slower industrial sales. So this is something we want to hear. If the company is in pre-revenue phase or they are not generating any revenue, we don't want to see them increasing their cash burn. So this so far looks to me as a good setup for a potential solid upside. However, we are still in pre-revenue. We are still in an early market position. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at chat. Let me just zoom out a bit so you can read it well as I can read it well. And let's have a look who we've got here. And what is your opinion? Because I've seen your comments coming through. So we've got, oh, what's going on? Let me just zoom that in. Right, James is here. Thank you for joining. You were here first, as you are. We are closing the market in about 2 minutes. So let's quickly dash through the comments. Please smash the like on your way in. Thank you, James. I do appreciate it. Then get to the chopper. WTF, no idea about this company. MicroVision, good. Microcloud hologram, not good. If you know, you know, says Comic Coast. Yestin, hello everyone, thank you for joining. Donda, any room for earnings coverage tomorrow after the close? Well, Donda, what earnings can I offer you? We've got tomorrow, we've got penciled, Surf Air Mobility. What stock are you interested in? Let me know, Donda, and we can talk about it. I was going to bring Surf Air Mobility because it's an eVTOL operator, but let's have a look what you want to cover. Let me know in the chat. Joey the Kangaroo, I would recommend subscribing to Ben's MicroVision podcast. He has a lot of information about MicroVision on his channel. Wow. Hopefully Ford picks up MicroVision. They are quite keen on LiDAR for self-driving cars. Joey, thank you very much. Great advisory. Abby, I think we have closing bell. So let me ring the closing bell. Let me ring the closing bell right now. MicroVision towards the closing bell is not doing much. It's been flat. The volume is very low. But it can change after the hours. Let's have a look quickly what the markets in general are doing. I didn't show you the chart. Okay, so the markets in general, S&P is slightly up, Nasdaq holding lower. Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum selling off today. Gold is pushing up. and silver is up as well. So MicroVision, as we can see, $1.06 towards the closing bell. The numbers will be out in few minutes, and the earnings call starts on the half hour, so we won't be waiting too long. Let's have a look quickly at the eVTOL market, and I will continue with the MicroVision updates and your comments and your insights as well. So Joby had a good recovery today, although it's only 4% up, almost 4% up. It had a good bounce of this bottom. Archer, it had over 10%, or it had a 10% rebound. Very good. We seem to be coming close to the next resistance of $9. Are we going to break it? I'm not sure. I think we will see one more bounce off, but it's only a guess. Vertical Aerospace, look at this long candle before the market close. Well, it's not too long, but it's fairly long. I think we are following a good trend line in here. I think we are following this new, let me put it back to 3 months chart, zoom out. I think we are following a new trend line in here. That is a bit off because of the scale of the chart, but if I zoom in to shorter candles, look at this. I think we are following a new trend line, forming a new trend. And we are literally days away from the big news for Vertical Aerospace. EHang has been going slightly sideways today. Horizon Aircraft, as predicted, look, we have just broken below the $2 support. I would not be surprised if Horizon Aircraft, if Hover touches and bounces off $1.50 support in few weeks. Unless we have some good news, unless we have some good catalyst. If mobility, more eVTOL stocks, because I cover eVTOL stocks, I bring you exclusive insights to the eVTOL market. For those who don't know, I'm Vaz, and I cover eVTOLs. And who knows, maybe MicroVision will be built on board and into the avionics of one of these flying taxis. The first one was Archer Aviation, our favorite sports car design eVTOL or flying taxi. This is Joby Aviation, and also we have Vertical Aerospace with this British beauty. So you never know, there might be some relations and partnership with MicroVision in future. So Beta had a good recovery. Beta Technologies, I said it was going sideways a couple of hours ago, but look at it. Good recovery towards the closing bell, and I think it can go just up. Let's have a look at the S&P quickly. At the chart, at the daily chart, it looks very positive. We had the government lockdown progress. It looks like the government can open as early as tomorrow. So that is good news, especially for aerospace and eVTOL market. So let me just quickly bring MicroVision back, and we are looking out for the numbers as well. MicroVision after the closing bell, slightly up, $1.08. Let me quickly get back to your chat. So Joey, thank you for the insight. I will definitely check it out. Excuse me, Abby is here. Thank you for joining. Joey says Ford are the only really established US car companies in Europe who can adapt. Thank you. Joey, are you invested in MicroVision? What is your average? Do we have any MicroVision investors? Let me know what is your average. Don't tell me how much money you spent. Don't tell me what is your position. Let me know your average. I'm interested. Cedar Tree is here. Thank you for joining me. Thanks for covering this earnings call. Well, hopefully you will like the stock as much as I liked it when I focused on it before. Heard it from Cliff. Sorry. I like Sensei Crypto and Martyn Lucas. Put one of them on, please. Well, Sensei will be back. Thank you, mate. Sensei will be back on tomorrow morning, and Martyn should be back as early as next week because he's ending his holidays. He will be back very shortly. I'm Vaz. I cover aerospace and mainly eVTOL market, but also I reach out to all the tech stock. Abby, smash the like, thank you. Joey, the Kangaroo diversified. They also use them for the military, for drones. Very good. Thank you for the update. Joey says, yes, what was it for? Oh, you are invested. Yeah. WTF says, my robo vacuum I have running at the moment has a ladder, right? What? Joey says, if MicroVision announces partnership with a big automotive company, there is no reason why this wouldn't go to $3. I agree. And was it MicroVision who were trying to cooperate with Volvo, or was it Laser? Was it Luminar Technologies? And Joey also says they have a new CEO, Glenn DeVos, who has 30 years of being in the automotive industry. Very good. Cedar says it depends on the brand company you have. What else we got? Joey says, unfortunately, I've never played hockey in Manchester. Oh, you are from the United Kingdom. I am as well. I'm based in Cambridgeshire. In Manchester, it's chucking it down at the moment. Not exactly the weather to be playing hockey here. Fair enough. Joey, I agree. Did you see Volvo is delaying the release of LiDAR for the EX90? Joey says they weren't Volvo partnered with Luminar. Okay, so I got it mixed up. Yeah, there was Luminar. Or am I thinking of different company? Luminar have been having financial troubles at the moment. Joey also says it gives way to another LiDAR company to work with Volvo. James says it is bad rain in the UK right now. Martin, trade updated, guys. I got my target. 205 shares of VU S&P 500 sold. $128,000 at $628.15. Used tax lots now have very low average in the stock. Out of margin again. Congratulations, Martin. Joey says, Joey the Kangaroo, if you are going from Stockport on the M60, there's a pile up of cars. Saw it on my way home. Wow. Okay, so we have some traffic news. That's great as well. Sorry, just jumped up and down the chat window. Zach, hi, all 2 more days. Zach is eyeing. Zach is dying to see Virgin Galactic earnings as well. That's on Thursday. After hours. So Donda wants e-gain. E-gain. Can't even see it on here. E-gain. Let me have a quick look. E-gain. Let me have a quick look. What time is the call? Earnings call. That's the presentation. Yeah, I think we are clashing with the Surf Air Mobility. Let me check Surf Air Mobility. Let me check Surf Air Mobility earnings. Earnings call. Bear with me. Stand by. I will quickly check out the MicroVision numbers, which should be out as well. Bear with me. Earnings call. 13th of May. I think we have missed something. Right. This quarter is on the 12th. What time is it? What time is it? Yeah. Yeah, I think we will be doing the Surf Air Mobility. Unless Sensei wants to do it. You can ask Sensei tomorrow morning. Don't. I'm sorry. I will be doing Surf Air Mobility. If you want to ask Sensei in the morning, it's worth the try. It's worth the shot. WTF says LiDAR, it's a D bought by Exo. Oh, you're talking about oh, you said ladder and then you corrected it to LiDAR. Yeah, oh yeah. Most of them have LiDARs. I think the numbers are not out yet. Let me quickly go through the chat and I will fish the numbers if they are out. Trixie is here. Thank you for joining my checkmate. We rang the bell. Joey, are you subscribed or are you a member? I haven't seen you here before. Consider subscription as well, because we have a lot of tech content as well. Do it for yourself. I mean, it's only $1. I spend more money on a beer in a day. Fair enough. Buy 200 shares and leave it alone. Thoughts? Yeah. Well, let's wait for the guidance. I don't recommend buying any speculative and early startups before the earnings or for the earnings, unless you know the company inside out. I don't know the company inside out, so let's wait for the guidance. I have no doubt we will find out more updates and some interesting news. Vaz, I like your poppy badge. Yes, we are appreciating all the veterans and soldiers. It's the Remembrance Day worldwide, so thank you everyone for your service. Joey says, I have 6,000 shares for long term. Wow, congratulations. Pfizer did well today. Congratulations, James. Trixie says, Vaz, I add more Archer at $7.30. Congratulations, I'm glad I buy. By the way, now the average is $9.20. Very good, very good. Congratulations. Vaz, can I ask, please, or someone, when the United Arab Emirates show will start? On Sunday, and I will try to bring you as much coverage as I can. Comicos just now got a small bag at $1.07. Very good, congratulations. Joey says, I have an average of $1.30 at the moment. I'm hoping to average down next tax year if it is below my average. If not, I'm long-term holding. Very good, very good. Donda, that's okay. Thank you for understanding. Try Sensei tomorrow morning. He might be able to squeeze that in. MicroVision earnings beat expectation. Wow. Okay, so let's have a look. Joey says, I've just come in today. Yes, I have sub. Thank you for joining us. So let's have a look at MicroVision. We are getting update on the government shutdown as well. The government can be open as soon as tomorrow, and that could have a massive impact on the stock market as well. Where are we? So I'm trying to view event. Right, they don't have the numbers on their website yet. Let me just start up the webcast. Hang on. Okay, let's do this. MicroVision. Let's do this. WTF? Oh, you just joined.
Become a member.
As a member. Well, congratulations. Let me put it on the screen. Congratulations. Thank you for joining. I do appreciate it. Obviously, membership has a lot of perks. There was a bit of content yesterday from Sensei for members only. I will try to bring you as much of members content only as well, so you'll have a lot of benefits, a lot of perks. Don't worry, stand by. Thank you very much. I welcome you to the Lucas family. Third quarter view, we don't have the numbers. Okay, let me check this. View all numbers, add to calendar, view events. Let me quickly check this. I'm trying their website first. If we have, yes, press release, earnings release, and earnings webcast. So webcast is on standby. Let's have a look at the press release, and then we will dive deep into the numbers. MicroVision, what is the stock doing? Nothing, currently steady. The volume has picked up towards the closing bell. But let's have a look what reaction we can expect. Redmond, Washington, November. Sorry, no, this is announcing. My bad. This is for the announcement. So the earnings results are here. Related document. All right. So Redmond, Washington, November the 11th. MicroVision, a technology pioneer delivering advanced perception solutions in autonomy and mobility, today announced its third quarter 2025 results. Key business and operational highlights. Can I zoom it in even more? That's great. I can read it better as well as you can now. Appointed 30-year industry veteran Glenn DeVos as Chief Executive Officer, elevating automotive capabilities. We always want to hear this because decades of experience can pay out very well. Introduce next generation solid state LiDAR sensor MOVIA S, offering an energy efficient and cost efficient short range solution for a wide variety of automotive, industrial and defense sector applications as well. MicroVision also launched industry disrupting tri-LiDAR architecture solution, offering an alternative to the LiDAR industry's myopic focus on single sensor solutions. So I will wait for the CEO to explain this to us, okay? No doubt we will hear about this product. Executed agreement to acquire Scantinel Photonics, a German developer of long-range FMCW LiDAR, joining investment and strategic partners in advancing LiDAR on-chip solution for commercial vehicle and passenger car markets. MicroVision also established design office and testing facilities in DC area with engineering expertise in aviation and avionics as well. Very good. That's what we want to hear. That's what we want to hear on this channel and on this show. Accelerating development and time to market in defense sector, focused on intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance or ISR capabilities. They also expanded. Am I coming through? Am I live? Yes, I am live. Okay. They also expanded. I'm having some lags on my internet. Expanded global sales and engineering leadership, bringing decades of experience to sales organization and commercialization discipline. Well, let's see if we can see it on the numbers. They also maintain strong balance sheet, cost-efficient operations, and sound financial practices. Okay, so far so good. The CEO says, I have been thrilled to see the company's momentum and energy these past 6 weeks as I stepped into my new role here at MicroVision, said Glenn DeVos, MicroVision's Chief Executive Officer. The company is making great strides, processing the high level of external interest stemming from the unveiling of the IAA mobility in our next-gen short-range sensor, optimizing perception system value to automotive original equipment manufacturers by disrupting norms to offer a cost-effective integrated solution, accelerating our drone-agnostic perception solution and expansion into ISR applications, and collaborating with the European Union's photonics ecosystem to bring 1550 nanometer FMCW LiDAR technology to the commercial vehicle and passenger car market. Okay, so let's have a look at the key financial highlights. What is the stock doing? It's currently sitting at $1.07. I think we are waiting for the guidance. Let me just quickly log in back into the webcast so we are not missing anything. Let me quickly write up my credentials. I cannot talk and type my email, so bear with me. Right. Oh. Okay, I've already messed it up. Let me do it again. There we go. So I am logged in. The webcast is starting in about 10 minutes. We should get 5-minute notice in advance. As you can see on the screen, you can't see it. The webcast is already primed up. So let's read through the investors' updates. Key financial highlights for third quarter 2025. Revenue for the third quarter was only $200,000 million, flat compared to 0.2 million for the third quarter of 2024, comprised of sales to industrial customers. Total operating expenses for the third quarter of 2025 were $12 million, which, after adjusting to non-cash items, remained relatively flat year over year as compared to $15.3 million of the third quarter of the previous year. So far, we don't have any positive surprise, but we don't have any disappointment either. Net loss for the third quarter of 2025 was $14.2 million or 5 cents per share, which includes $2.2 million of non-cash interest expense related to financings, $1.2 million of severance payments related to CEO transition, and $0.7 million related to non-cash unrealized gains on warrants and derivatives, and a negative $1.6 million of non-cash share-based compensation expense. Okay, anything else? So compared to a net loss of $15.5 million or 0.07, so 7 negative cents per share, which includes $2.4 million of non-cash share-based compensation. Okay, adjusted EBITDA $11.7 million compared to previous quarter, to the same quarter of the previous year. Same, we are flat. So this is good news amongst the not good news, or the news or the good news that didn't come out. This is good news that came out, that the the operational cost tackling strategy is successful. Cash used in operations for the third quarter of 2025 was $16.5 million compared to cash used in operations in the third quarter of 2024, $14.1 million. The company ended the third quarter of 2025 with $99.5 million in cash and cash equivalents, including investment securities, compared to $74.7 million as of 31st December 24. As of September the 30th, the company has access to $76.2 million of additional capital, subject to certain conditions, including $46.2 million under its existing at the market or at the facility. I'm a bit like Donald Trump now, am I not? Under its existing at the market facility, or $30 million of the remaining commitment pursuant to the convertible note facility. I'm not political. I'm just hinting on what Donald Trump said yesterday. He was reading out his speech, and there was insert your name or now say your name, and he literally read through it. He literally read it out instead of putting his name. So I just explained this acronym, and then I read out the explanation of this acronym. Conference call is starting in about 6 minutes. What is MicroVision doing? Sitting flat at $1.07. Let's have a look at the chat. What updates and what insights we are getting from you. Joey, well, thank you for joining. That's great. Hopefully you like this content. It's not only me on this channel. I do mainly the eVTOL aircraft, which I already showed you. I'll show you my favorite video. I'll show you this video whilst I'm talking over it, and we're gonna go back to MicroVision in a minute. So I cover these flying taxis, as they call them, eVTOL, electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft. Fairly new emerging market. If you are invested in MicroVision, you might understand the opportunities in there. This is what I cover. This is my main discipline, but I also cover aviation, and I branch out to defense and tech as well, as we do now. So this is our exclusive product, Vertical Aerospace. We have very good relation with them. We have brought you a lot of behind the scenes and a lot of exclusive content as well. We have engaged with them. We had them on the show a few times. I don't know what else to say. Just so you know. So that's me. Then we have Sensei, who's live tomorrow morning for the market opening bell, or before the market opening bell. He's our crypto guy, but he's our chart god. He's got the academic accuracy of chart analysis or chart reading. And then we have Martyn Lucas, obviously the main face, who is currently on his holidays. So he should be back maybe as early as back of next week or the following week. So definitely, I think you will like the show. Thank you for subscription. Try to tune in for tomorrow for Sensei. I think you will enjoy it as well. Comic cost expected -6 cents and came in at -5 cents. Yes, welcome WTF. I'm not reading the name out. Welcome to the Lucas 8 family. Thank you for becoming a member. I live very close to the MicroVision headquarters here in Washington. See there? You know what is your duty now? You have to go there, you have to engage with them, and you have to spy on them. No, that's great. That's great. Maybe now you will keep your eyes peeled and you will see some MicroVision marked cars as well. That test cars. Joey, yes, you are live. Yes, thank you. I've got monitor and I can see myself, and it was lagging. So that's fine, completely fine on my end. Thank you, I appreciate it. See the trees. I believe Volvo cut production of the LiDAR product on the EX90 due to high production costs to manufacture these LiDAR units need to fall. I believe this is slowing the adoption curve. And Cedar also says, I think we see more adoption from the commercial vehicle market versus passenger vehicle market. Yes, I agree. Places like warehouses, maybe airports, that could be implemented in the air traffic control eventually. The newly rebuilt air traffic control in the USA. I can imagine application. MicroVision is up 1 cent as we speak. Joey the Kangaroo says, I was about to say not enough hand movements to be Donald Trump. But you pulled out the Italian one. Okay, thank you. This is what I like about this show and this community. We always come together and we engage in the chat, and I read out your chats as well, and I'm learning from you. Thank you, Joey, for coming in, because I've learned so much about MicroVision, and I'm now intrigued, and I will start looking into it more. So thank you for joining us. That's great. And see that he's here always. So, and he always has some great insights as well. So the webcast, let's quickly refresh this. Right. Webcast is on standby. Webcast is on standby. I cannot play the background music, but I can show you we are on standby. Cannot play the music for copyright reasons. However, I'm monitoring it, I'm listening, and as soon as they start talking, I will zip it, put a chat on, or maybe we actually are going to have a presentation. I love it. I love it when we have a presentation. We can also ask a question. Ooh, do we have any questions? Do you want to ask any question? Do you want me to ask any question on our behalf? That would be great. Resources, and we have slides, so let's get the slides out. Let's get the slides out for you. I'll put it in the other window. Whoop. I'll put it in the other window. Oh, it's not slides, it's just the report. I've got a report. That's fine. Let me just quickly adjust this. Let's have a look at the chat. I'm just doing multiple things in the background you cannot see. Setting up my scenes, bringing the data on the screen. Right. We've got this. Yeah, we've got this. That's great. I think we will have a presentation. We've got the financials here as well, so I will bring them on the screen as soon as they start talking. I'm just listening. Still music, still playing music. That's great. We now had a little push to the $1.09. Currently, no major movement. Look at this. Look at the RSI. Look at the RSI here. It jumps 1 cent. The volume is so low, and the movement on the chart is so low that even if we go 2 cents up, look at the RSI with this candle. So we might have a good reaction tomorrow. Let's wait for the guidance. Let's see what they have to announce. Let's see what we can hear.
Welcome to the MicroVision third
I think we are talking now.
Financial and operating results conference call. At this time, all participants are on a listen-only mode. At the end of today's presentation, there will be an opportunity to ask questions via the chat line. Investors can submit their questions within the meeting webcast by typing them into the Q&A button on the left side of the viewing screen. Analysts who publish research may ask questions through the phone line. For analysts to ask a question on the phone line, please press star 1 on your phone. Please note this event is being recorded. I would now like to turn the conference over to Drew Markham. Please go ahead.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm here today with our CEO, Glenn DeVos, and our CFO, Anubhav Verma. Following their prepared remarks, we will open the call to questions. Please note that some of the information you will hear in today's discussion will include forward-looking statements, including, but not limited to, expectations regarding business, product, and go-to-market strategies, products and solutions, and market needs and timing, status of commercial engagement and future demand, level of customer and partner engagement, market landscape and opportunities, acquisition benefits and risks and collaborations, projections of future operations and cash flow, cash, liquidity, and the impacts of recent financing activities, availability of funds and conditions for raising capital, as well as statements containing words like believe, expect, plan, and other similar expressions. These statements are not guarantees of future performance. Actual results could differ materially from the future results implied or expressed in the forward-looking statements. We encourage you to review our SEC filings, including our most recently filed annual report on Form 10-K and quarterly reports on Form 10-Q. These filings describe risk factors that could cause our actual results to differ materially from those implied or expressed in our forward-looking statements. All forward-looking statements are made as of the date of this call, and except as required by law, we undertake no obligation to update this information. In addition, we will present certain financial measures on this call that will be considered non-GAAP under the SEC's Regulation G. For reconciliations of each non-GAAP financial measure to the most directly comparable GAAP financial measure, as well as for all the financial data presented on this call, please refer to the information included in our press release and in our Form 8-K dated and submitted to the SEC today, both of which can be found on our corporate website at ir.microvision.com under the SEC Filings tab. This conference call will be available for audio replay on the Investor Relations section of our website. Now, I would like to turn the call over to Glenn DeVos, our Chief Executive Officer. Glenn?
Thank you, Drew, and it's great to be with all of you today. I'd like to start today's call by answering a question I've been asked quite a bit over the past few months, which is, why did you join MicroVision? The reason I joined, first as CTO back in April and now as CEO, is that MicroVision has a unique opportunity to transform the LiDAR industry. I've been directly involved with this industry for more than 10 years, from the first CES automated car demonstrations in 2015, the autonomous cross-country drive, our robotaxi fleet deployments in Singapore and Vegas, and the very first Level 3 OEM system deployments. These were truly exciting times for LiDAR. But as of today, the adoption rate of LiDAR sensors has been very limited, and we remain a niche product. The reason for this is simple. It's cost. LiDAR sensors are too expensive, and this has limited our market penetration. There are 3 developments that are required to bring costs down to the levels required for mass adoption. The first is the move from electromechanical systems to solid state. The cost floor for electromechanical systems is significantly higher than that of solid state. As a result, LiDAR is only used when it is not possible to do the job with cameras or other lower-cost alternatives. For example, while automotive Level 2+ systems would benefit greatly from the use of LiDAR, they are typically deployed with only vision and radar. We must move to wafer-level processes that have a much lower cost structure than current electromechanical systems can ever achieve. Roughly 25 years ago, radar started as large, complex, and expensive assemblies with very limited adoption. So where are we now? In 2024, over 140 million were produced for the automotive market alone. LiDAR can follow a very similar path. The second development is related to system architecture and the move to satellite sensors. We started this in automotive roughly 15 years ago with the introduction of satellite radar and camera sensors working with a central ADAS domain controller. This approach breaks down the perception challenge and simplifies the individual sensors, delivering the highest level of performance at the lowest total system cost. The third is to further simplify and reduce the cost of the hardware through software. We'll talk more about this in future calls, but solving the perception and the processing challenges in software enables the further optimization of the hardware, again, resulting in lower total cost. These are the steps to mass adoption, and if they sound familiar, it is because this is exactly what has been done for vision, radar, and other sensing modalities. And this is exactly what we're doing at MicroVision, and it is the reason why I am so excited to be part of the MicroVision team. So let's talk about Q3 and how it relates to the key issues we just covered. I'll start with our recent announcements at IAA in Munich in September, where we introduced both MOVIA S and our tri-LiDAR architecture. MOVIA S is an industry-leading ultra-wide field of view solid-state sensor. The MOVIA S 180-degree field of view sensor we demonstrated at IAA is the first of a full family of short-range sensors for the automotive, industrial, and defense sectors. It is easily configurable and can deliver full perception and advanced LiDAR-based driver assistance features, such as MicroVision's localization and collision avoidance functions, or simply provide a clean point cloud. It is the right product at the right time, delivering performance at a breakthrough cost level enabled by its solid-state design and MicroVision's proprietary image and signal processing software. This is that first step to achieving mass adoption, dramatically lowering the cost of LiDAR perception for our customers. MOVIA S is an amazing standalone product, but it also enables the implementation of the satellite architecture I referred to earlier, what we call tri-LiDAR for automotive applications. Low-cost, compact, high-performance sensors are the key to unlocking satellite architectures, and it is exactly what vision and radar have accomplished. It's why in most cars today, they have between 3 to 5 radar and 6 to 9 cameras. LiDAR can and will follow the same path, not just for fully autonomous systems such as level 3 or 4 cars or AGVs and AMRs, but for driver and operated assistance systems as well. The industry refers to this as the democratization of safety, and that's what MicroVision's products are enabling. MOVIA S is currently being demonstrated with numerous customers, and its production launch is planned for Q4 of 2026. Additionally, we announced the asset purchase agreement of Scantinel Photonics. This is a key move for MicroVision as it gives us access to 1515 nanometer FMCW ultra-long-range LiDAR technology. Scantinel's ultra-long-range capability perfectly complements our current 905 and 940 nanometer time-of-flight portfolio of MOVIA and MAVIN products. MicroVision will be unique in its ability to offer our customers a complete range of solutions for their perception challenges across all end market sectors. We will share more details of our ultra-long-range product plans and timing at the upcoming CES. Regarding our defense-related activity, I'm excited to share a few more details about our recently announced aerial systems team, which is responsible for our drone-based LiDAR developments. The addition of this team dramatically accelerates our work in the space of drone-based real-time mapping, ISR, and denied environment navigation. We are on track to complete the initial proof of concept phase for both fixed-wing and rotor drones by the end of the year, and the aerial systems team is now up and operational at our airstrip and office in Virginia. We've also been working closely with our Defense Advisory Board and have started initial customer engagements this month. We'll share more details about next steps and about the technology at CES in January. Now let me shift to our commercial engagements. In the Q2 earnings call, we talked about the number of ongoing industrial and automotive RFQs and RFIs. These remain active, and we continue to be engaged with our customers as they work through their sourcing processes. What has changed significantly are the post-IAA engagements where we have experienced strong interest in both MOVIA S and our Tri-LiDAR architecture offerings. We are currently demonstrating MOVIA S to a number of automotive OEM, industrial, and autonomous vehicle customers. Another key differentiator for MOVIA S beyond price point, compact size, and its ultra-wide field of view is its open software framework, which enables our customers to embed their software on the MicroVision sensor. This dramatically changes how perception systems are developed. MicroVision's open software framework gives our customers the ability to develop, optimize, and validate their systems with the most advanced and most efficient software DevOps model. This is another example of how MicroVision is leading the industry and how we are helping our customers solve their perception system development and their deployment challenges. We also see tremendous interest in our MOVIA Lidar collision avoidance system, what we call LCAS. These are for applications where the customer wants to have a solution that is ready to go out of the box, easily installed with pre-programmed and configurable LCAS feature libraries that they can set up and operate on their own. We're currently demonstrating our LCAS system with several customers and plan to launch in Q2 of 2026 with our MOVIA L platform. Finally, let me bring you up to speed on several developments as we strengthen our leadership team. Fraser McMahon has joined MicroVision as our Vice President of Global Sales. Fraser brings decades of sales and commercial experience in the automotive and adjacent markets. Fraser will be expanding our commercial team, and I'm looking forward to working closely with him as we accelerate our customer acquisition plans. Also, Greg Scharenbrock has joined as our Vice President of Global Engineering. With his experience with Toyota, Delphi, as well as Intel, Greg brings proven technology leadership and management capability for our global engineering organization. These are key additions to ensure that MicroVision has the leadership capabilities as well as the experience to execute and deliver our growth plans across the automotive, industrial, and defense markets. We have the opportunity to transform the LiDAR industry, and MicroVision is making that happen. As I said at the beginning, that is why I'm here and with you today. With that, thank you for your attention, and I'll turn it over to Anubhav for his remarks.
Thanks, Glenn. I want to start by welcoming our new CEO, Glenn, and marking a new era for MicroVision. The progress we've made under his leadership in just a few short months has been phenomenal. The LiDAR industry is ready for a revolution, much like the one we saw with radar. Glenn was a key architect of that evolution, and he's now bringing his 30 years of automotive experience to do the same for LiDAR. I'm excited about the MicroVision's game-changing strategy. Number one, the simplified sensor architecture. Our Tri-LiDAR system transforms the traditional single-sensor model into a cost-effective trio of sensors, 2 short-range and 1 long-range. And the second is economic disruption. We're setting a new industry standard with solid-state products priced at $200 for short-range and $300 for long-range sensors. This strategy addresses OEM demands and positions MicroVision to accelerate LiDAR adoption while securing a competitive edge. To accelerate our long-term vision, I am excited to announce a strategic investment in Scantinel, a leader in 1550 nanometer FMCW LiDAR technology based in Bavaria, Germany. This partnership secures our leadership in next-generation ultra-long range LiDAR. Just as FMCW revolutionized radar with superior performance and interference resistance, it is ideal for long-range sensing in LiDAR. This move positions MicroVision as one of the few companies offering both FMCW and time-of-flight technologies, enabling us to deliver a comprehensive product suite that meets the diverse and evolving needs of OEMs. After the success related to the MOVIA S launch, we are very energized by it and are now driving momentum in the industrial AGV AMR market to drive near-term revenue opportunities, leveraging our perception software and MOVIA hardware to solve complex business problems. Since MOVIA S has a significantly lower price point than MOVIA L, most of our customers are looking to migrate from MOVIA L to MOVIA S. We believe this will be a transformational for the industrial and warehouse automation markets. Our prior visibility of $30 to $50 million over the next 12 to 18 months was primarily driven by the MOVIA L product. However, with our new strategy to transition customers to MOVIA S and ongoing delays on part of our customers, we anticipate that this revenue pipeline will take longer to realize. Given that we're moving away from MOVIA L, we're actively managing our production commitments with ZF as we plan to bring up manufacturing capabilities for MOVIA S next year. We plan to provide an update as part of the Q4 earnings and full year 2025 results early next year. Moving on, we continue to press ahead with the pursuit of revenue opportunities in the defense vertical. We recently added a small team in Virginia in the greater DC metro area with deep experience in aeronautical engineering and avionics. We will be demonstrating a complete solution with multimodal sensors and our full-stack software capable of enabling unmanned drones to complete specific missions in the first half of 2026. I'm also excited about the addition of key executives with rich backgrounds from Intel and Visteon to join us and build the engineering and go-to-market functions of MicroVision. Now let's review our third quarter financial performance. For the third quarter, we reported revenues of $0.2 million. This quarter's revenue was driven by our sales in industrial and automotive verticals. From a cash burn standpoint, in the third quarter of 2025, our R&D and SG&A expenses totaled $12 million. This includes $1.2 million of severance payments related to CEO transition, $1.6 million of non-cash income related to a stock-based compensation income expense reversal resulting from the forfeiture of executive PRSUs from former CEO's departure, as well as $1.4 million in non-cash charges related to DNA. Excluding these items, our core R&D and SG&A expenses were approximately $11 million for the quarter, flat with respect to the second quarter, in line with our expectations. The cash burn for the quarter was $16.5 million. That includes a one-time $3.2 million payments related to the inventory buildup of MOVIA L. Q4 CapEx was $0.1 million, in line with our expectations. Now, looking ahead, we anticipate an increase in current spending levels to support several strategic initiatives. These include the onboarding of the aerial systems team and related costs for a new DC office, several senior hires aimed at strengthening our engineering and go-to-market functions. Additionally, we will incur expenses related to the Scantinel acquisition in Bavaria, Germany. We plan to provide further updates on this transaction and associated funding during our next call, once the closing occurs later this year. We anticipate that these new initiatives will lead to an increase in our annual spending by approximately $1.5 to $2 million per quarter. To summarize, we're modestly ramping up our expenses from Q4 onwards to invest in three key areas. Number one, accelerate product readiness. Number two, invest in industrializing our products. And number three, accelerate time to revenue by investing in go-to-market and sales organization for building a solid pipeline for the products. We look forward to sharing more updates and providing full-year cash burn guidance for 2026 in conjunction with our 2025 year-end earnings. Now let's talk about our balance sheet. We finished this quarter with $99.5 million in cash and cash equivalents. In addition, the company has availability of an additional $46.2 million under our current ATM facility, and $30 million of undrawn capital under the convertible note facility as of Q3. As of today, approximately $18 million in principal is outstanding on the convertible note. That converts at a fixed price of $60. With $99.5 million cash at hand at the end of third quarter, we are adequately capitalized to make these debt payments in cash or through stock if the holders choose to exercise their option due to favorable market conditions. The $30 million second tranche remains undrawn. As previously highlighted, MicroVision's average trading volumes have experienced a substantial increase since last year, driven in part by committed investment exceeding $90 million from a single investor. This investment has also enabled the company to raise approximately $30 million in net proceeds during the third quarter through its ATM program, strengthening our balance sheet. While we will continue to pursue opportunistic capital raising strategies as appropriate, the combination of recent funding activities and our operational cost management has extended our financial runway into 2027. The LiDAR industry is evolving, with the once biggest LiDAR company by market cap, which is now facing significant financial challenges. In contrast, MicroVision stands out due to its strong capital structure, financial discipline, corporate governance, and superior product portfolio. Our approach remains centered on diversifying revenue streams through targeted, disciplined investments. This long-term outlook makes MicroVision an attractive investment for large-scale institutional investors and has notably increased its visibility within the institutional investment community. We're confident that our new leadership team is well-positioned to successfully execute our current business strategy to be the front runners of the autonomy enablers for the three end markets with significant TAMs. Operator, I would now like to open the call for questions.
Thank you. At this time, we're conducting a question and answer session.
Very interesting, very interesting. Don't go anywhere. This is the most important and interesting part. Also, Joey, I submitted both of your questions. Let's see if we are lucky. I like it. I like it so far. I like it very much.
One. Your first question is coming from Casey Ryan from West.
And I'm submitting a new poll. I'm creating a new poll. Let me know in the chat. Is it a buy, hold, or sell? Listening to the call, is it a buy, hold, or sell for you? Or are you undecided?
Hello. Sorry, I was on mute. Thank you. A lot to discuss today. Thank you for the update. So the acquisition in Germany of FMCW technology is really interesting in light of your comments about driving the cost point down. In general, I guess my view has been that's been an even costlier product, but do you think you can get it down to the targets that you talked about for your core products in terms of LiDAR and the ASP being consumable? Because I guess a lot of the FMCW, I think, has been concentrated in long-haul trucking and sort of higher kind of ASP, end markets previously.
Yeah, maybe, Bob, I'll take this. Hey, Casey, yeah, the key here is where FMCW is today, and you're spot on. Historically, it has been a higher cost alternative in terms of material costs. But ultimately, the technology gets you to essentially wafer level and chip scale packaging for really where all the high value silicon is. And that evolution of going from discrete components into highly integrated chip scale packages is where you drive the cost down. And then as well, longer term, its fundamental advantages that it has relative to eye safety, the ability for getting real-time, relative velocity measurements as well, and overall range capability. That brings that total system cost. So as we roadmap it, we do see this being able to hit the kind of cost targets that we think are required to be able to initially be attractive for commercial vehicle. That's where the initial market looks most advantageous, as well as ultimately for pass car. It also has another advantage of it's when you operate it behind the windscreen, it has less losses associated with transmission through the windshield of the vehicle. And again, that's another way that fundamentally you're not having to compensate for that, and so you can deliver a lower cost system. But right now, that's the whole plan that we have with Scantinel, is to accelerate that roadmap.
Okay, terrific. So you're raising one other thing that I'll try to be quick about, which is the importance of putting, a LiDAR sensor behind the windscreen versus, a bubble or some other part of the car. Are you hearing from customers that that's a really important component for solutions to be able to operate behind the windscreen and operate effectively?
Yeah, in general, it's just an ideal location. If you think about, they're in the vehicle, the rear view mirror for a passenger car, and that area in front of it, that's where typically your cameras are mounted today. It has the advantage of, the cleaning system of the windshield, basically the windshield wiper, and then the defrost functions on the windshield. So heating and cleaning are, basically already in place. It has a disadvantage of having to basically transmit through the windshield itself. So that's where transmission losses become concerning. But that we're seeing that emerge as, both from a vehicle packaging standpoint, so you don't have that bump in the top of the car when you put it on above the roof line. So from a vehicle packaging standpoint, and then from an inherent cleaning and heating standpoint, and then finally from a point of view standpoint, and what I mean by that is the long range LiDAR being mounted there gives it the best viewpoint in terms of its field of view, looking down the front of the car and looking down the road. So when you think about all three of those factors, it's a very attractive location for it. That said, it's a crowded space up there. You've got cameras, you've got the roof module controls, ultrasonic, glass breakage detectors, switches, there's a lot up there. And so, that's why miniaturizing that sensor to the greatest extent possible becomes so important.
Okay, yeah, thank you. That's helpful and actually quite exciting. Quickly, another quick detour, I guess, should we expect Scantinel, whenever it's closed and sort of fully integrated, does that business already have revenues is my question. Will we see some revenue show up from that, or is it a sort of a low or sort of de minimis revenue type business today?
No, in the immediate go ahead, Anubhav.
Go ahead, Glenn.
No. I was going to just say at this point, no, it's pre-revenue. And really what we'll be doing right now, and this is what I'll talk about here and as we come into CES and end of year, is we're putting that plan together to take that technology and industrialize it into an automotive grade sensor. So where MicroVision can basically wrap around Scantinel's technology, all the supporting processing, packaging, hardware, software, integrating their 1550 FMCW imaging capability. That's how the two really combine effectively. We'll put that plan together now, and then we'll be sharing specific dates and expectations on timing of product and revenue here later this year.
Yeah, and if I can just add, Casey, that's why we don't anticipate this acquisition to add a lot of costs into the system, because as I mentioned in my remarks, we're really only getting about 20-odd engineers, adding them to the workforce, because, we would be utilizing some of the talent that we have at MicroVision as well to develop some of the packaging capabilities, etc. So all in all, I think the cost that we're adding to the system is not going to be more than $2 million a quarter from that perspective.
Oh, right. Okay. And then correct me if I'm misstating, but I believe you all have an office in Germany, and will the offices be combined, or are they near each other, or does that not matter?
No, they're not near each other because the other office we have is in Hamburg, while the Scantinel office is in Bavaria, south of Germany, in a city called Ulm, so near Munich and Stuttgart.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for all that. One last big area that was exciting on the call was, I think, Anubhav, you started laying this out, sort of talking about a target ASP of 200 for short range and 300 for long range. Did I hear that right? First of all.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And did you put a target date? I mean, even if it's aspirational, I wasn't sure if I heard that or if that was just a long-term goal.
No, I think our goal is to get that product for MOVIA S out in next year. So we will be providing more exact dates probably as part of our next earnings call, because that's sort of what we are accelerating right now in the product readiness to get from MOVIA L to MOVIA S, and obviously setting up the manufacturing capabilities, et cetera, to be able to fulfill customer demands starting next year.
Because those price points are extremely competitive with radar in particular, right? And then, functionality versus cameras, and would certainly put you well ahead of, as far as I know, any competitors in the LiDAR space from an ASP perspective. Does that track with what you guys are thinking?
I think
that's exactly right. That gets us, I think that's the price point that really gets level 3 or maybe even level 2 plus systems, essentially a great value for the OEMs, where they can sell those systems at a very high, at the right price for their end customers, and still have a really high margin with that. Long term, to get into ADAS, you even have to drive it further down.
Really? Okay. And tell me if you think, is it right to be comparing it against camera and radar ASPs? And is that relevant? I mean, yes, it's relevant in some sense, but is it more just about the overall sensor cost is maybe a concern or an issue for some, concepts for cars and maybe some categories of cars, mid-tier cars and low-end cars and things like that?
Yeah, if you think about radar and cameras, which are now fully commoditized, cameras as a passive sensor, which frequently kind of hit somewhere between the $50 to $100 range. Radar for short range, below $50, between $50 and $100 for long range. When you think about those price points, LiDAR, as it achieves, I mentioned $140 million a year for radar. When you get into those kind of numbers and you've really standardized across an industry, we would expect to be sub $100 in that range as an active sensor, with lens assemblies and everything else. So it's it's going to be in that neighborhood, $100 or less. Now that's a ways off, obviously, but you got to get there stepwise. And the first big step we want to take is with MOVIA S as a short range sensor, getting down to 200, unlocking satellite sensor architectures for LiDAR, and then as volume comes and you continue to standardize, continue to drive that cost down.
And then the second piece of my question was, it feels like that would put you in a fairly dramatic leadership position from an ASP standpoint against potentially all the let's call them Western LiDAR competitors. I don't know what they're seeing out of China, but does that sound accurate to you, that the gap between what I'm hearing from other Western vendors is significantly higher when we talk about ASPs?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And we think that's where you have to be in this market to drive volume. And we're very mindful of where the price points in China are. And we know we have to be competitive with those as well. And so, at the end of the day, this is where you got to get to. And so, team's done a great job really designing the cost and coming up with a product that gets us on that path.
Yeah. Okay. Last question, I promise. With defense and the opportunities with defense, it feels like there's a significant push to sort of enable new platforms and new form factors. And do you find that price is a key consideration, or is it more just about functionality and maybe availability of product are sort of more important in those markets today?
Price is still, cost is still a factor. I mean, if you think about drones in particular, sometimes you can describe them as attritable assets. And, within a attritable asset, cost is a factor. Now, the reality is ASPs in those applications are significantly higher than what we've been talking about with regard to automotive or industrial. But it's still a factor. And that's where, our sensors with the scale and the design approach that we've taken, because we can use exactly the same sensor that we're developing in automotive, that we're developing in industrial. We can use that for what we're doing with drones and defense. And ultimately, that makes it very attractive, both from the functionality it brings, but also from the fact that it is a very cost-effective solution. It's just a different price point, a very different price point.
Right. Okay, terrific. Well, thank you for the feedback and the answers to these questions. It's a very exciting update, Glenn, for your first call, and we'll look forward to the next one for sure. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
I will now turn this call back over to Anubhav Verma to read questions submitted through the webcast. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. All right. So, quick question is, what is the status of the RFQs? Are there any updates on the timing? Are we stuck? What more do OEMs want, and how can we compete against the Chinese LiDAR makers?
So the RFQs, and I mentioned this in my remarks, the RFQs that we talked about last quarter, they're still ongoing. And it's not a question of being stuck. It's more that we're following the pace of the OEMs. Let me talk to automotive first, and then I'll pivot over to industrial. For automotive, I mean, we've seen it in the news, the amount of churn that the OEMs are going through on their platform definitions, ICE platforms versus electrification, how they're managing costs. There's a lot happening there. And as a result, the sourcing process for basically the safety systems that go in those vehicles is also taking quite a bit of time. And that's not unusual, especially for new type of features that LiDAR enables. But we're continuing to process through that. What typically happens is the OEMs go through a broad round with the supply base. They get a lot of feedback and a lot of different proposals. They analyze those, and then the next wave comes out, reflecting what they've learned, the OEM has learned through that initial wave of responses, and that's the process that we're in now. So, in terms of what more do they want, they're going to want, more updates and more Q&A sessions as they go. But that's just going to take the time it takes, and so we're still engaged with those and following them. Relative to industrial, not very similar to that. In terms of the kind of the bigger engineered solution activities that we're involved with, those are still proceeding through their evaluation phases. So that's continuing on, and we're supporting those customers as they do their evaluations. So nothing new to announce this call, but again, we continue to stay engaged with those and driving those to a successful outcome. But that's that, and then the last comment question regarding the Chinese LiDAR, I think you kind of picked a little bit up on that in the last questions that we had. Ultimately, and I've been doing this myself for 25 years now, competing with Chinese suppliers across all areas of certainly the automotive space. And how do you compete with them? Is you can't just simply compete on price and hardware. That's very difficult. You have to compete through other innovation channels, and one of those is, like I talked about, the open software framework, where we can provide a sensor that is highly flexible and fully transparent to what the perception system integrator or developer wants to do. They can put their software on it. We can provide greater levels of innovation through how we use our software. So there are levers that we have that we can use to position our product to be competitive with the Chinese, either adding more value or more price competitive. And that's just the reality of the automotive market and the industrial market today. Is you got to be, if you're not competitive, you're not going to win the business. We feel that with our approach, we have a competitive offering against really all of the participants in this space.
Thank you, Glenn. Next question. We're concerned that the $200 price tag could be unprofitable or unsustainable customer deals, the type of deals that led to Luminar losing money on every unit being sold to Volvo. How are we going to be different?
Yeah, that's a great question. You can't get yourself into a position where volume production is upside down on margins. That's just simply not an acceptable outcome. You do all that work to win a business, develop a product, and then every product is costing you money to ship it. And we're not in a position to do that, and we don't have to. Relative to that $200 price point, the reason we're confident in stating that is because that was based on a detailed buildup of costs from the ground up and looking at what is it going to cost us to produce the product that can provide that kind of performance, and looking through all of those cost elements, and as well as manufacturing and the capital it takes to support production. So we're confident in the cost model associated with that. That is what then guides our design and development direction for that part. And then I can tell you, and this is just my experience, certainly with automotive over these years, you just have to be maniacal about those costs. You have to watch them at every step, constantly be working them down. And I'm confident that our team can do that. So for me, it's the $200. It's a great number to have and to start with. But our goal, just to be clear, is to drive the cost well below that.
Thanks, Glenn. Glenn, you indicated in public comments at IAA in Munich that MicroVision has been working with a couple customers on what I would call pre-development contracts to validate our system. We expect those products to be sold very quickly. Can you clarify those comments as a pre-development? Because a pre-development would indicate that we are in early stages of engagement, but prior comments by management indicated that the company was much further along in testing and validation with those customers. And where do we stand with these customers today and the timing for sales?
Yeah, a great question. And so for me, pre-development is that whole phase before really launching that the production platform. And so when I was talking about pre-development here, what I'm referring to is where we have sensors where we're still, the customers are still evaluating and looking at how that feature would work on their system. An example of that is the bolt-on LCAS system that we talked about, based on the MOVIA L, where they're just doing exploratory work and looking at, okay, how do we feel about this? How does this work? How would we integrate it? So the customer really hasn't kicked off a formal development activity on that. We're also doing, as you just mentioned, we're also in what you would call qualification phases, where the customer has our product on their vehicle or on their robot and is actively qualifying or validating the technology to make sure it can hit the KPIs they think they need to hit to move forward with a LiDAR solution and MicroVision as the provider of that LiDAR. So we're doing both. And really, the feedback we're getting has been very positive. Ultimately, we have to get it over the line to a commercial contract. But both activities are occurring. A lot of uptick in that pre-development area with interest in LCAS as well as in MOVIA S. And my expectation is that'll move fairly quickly. But ultimately, we work at the pace of our customers. But based on it's kind of how they're looking at it, the feedback we're getting on it, I'm excited about. I think my belief is that we'll be successful there.
Well, thanks, Glenn. Next question. How does the recent upheaval at Luminar affect our opportunity to make inroads at Volvo Automotive and Volvo Trucks?
Yeah, I may not speak to the specifics involved in the whole situation, but I would tell you, historically, if there's a supplier that has issues providing or with an OEM, whatever those might be, then typically that provides the opportunity for those programs to be reopened and for those OEMs to look at alternate sources. And so we need to be mindful of that and take advantage of those opportunities as they develop. That's just this certainly wouldn't be the first time that this kind of a thing has happened in the industry, and the OEMs, they're very active in terms of their risk management and will look for alternate sources or how to protect their vehicle builds. That said, it also just puts that much more importance on your credibility as a supplier, that you have a product that's mature, that's proven, you have a product that you can produce at volume, you have supply security and resilience, that you're going to be there for the long haul, and essentially that you don't pose a risk to them, and you'll never jeopardize their production. And so, it just is another point to emphasize that as a supplier to the OEMs, you have to have that credibility. You have to have those pieces put together, which I'm confident the MicroVision team has. But again, those are opportunities that we'll watch very carefully and see what kind of opportunity they truly present for us.
Thanks, Glenn. Next question. Are the industrial deals still in play? How should investors think about the timing when the efforts in the industrial sector start to show revenue? And perhaps the same question for defense and automotive.
Yeah. So for the first point, industrials are still in play with MOVIA L, and we're now expanding those with MOVIA S. We would expect revenue really in 2026, more on the MOVIA L platform, with MOVIA S launching in fourth quarter of 2026, maybe a little bit of revenue in the tail end of the year from that platform. 27 will really be about MOVIA S for industrial, and either as a standalone product or integrated as part of an LCAS solution. For auto, the timelines we're talking about with auto, whether it's robotaxis or it's traditional pass car, tend to be, in my opinion, the 29 timeframe. Some still show a 28. We're going to be here in 26, in 2 months. That would be highly aggressive. I think 28, could be some, but I think it'd be fairly minor. 29 really strikes me as more of a viable launch year for automotive revenue. Again, starting and then building out more in 30 and 31. As it relates to defense, a little bit too early to predict at this time. I think you can see, there's a lot of activity there over the course of, the next year or two, as we come into it. I think our timing is very good to catch that wave. We'll be able to demonstrate and go public essentially with our product offerings here going into next year. And I think at that time, we'll generate a lot of interest, and we'll be able to give a much better feeling for what we think the revenue projections and when that market would develop for us. Near term, it'll probably be more on the kind of the non-recurring engineering piece of it, the development costs we're getting paid to develop. But obviously longer term, we want it to be more on the product sales side. And with defense, given what, drone technology is now, in terms of the platform itself, is fairly ubiquitous and commoditized. You've got what we're developing is going to be very mature coming into next year. This could have a shorter time to market, if you will, than auto. So kind of fits in between industrial and auto. The other comment I would make about this question, I think it highlights something important, is we do get the question about, why the three markets. And I just want to point out, for all three of these markets, it's the same core technology that we're providing in terms of the imaging hardware, the sensor itself, the image processing software, and then the perception, whether it's mapping, localization, navigation, or it's LCAS. It's all of it is the same technology that underlines each of those end markets. So that means we have, really nice revenue diversity across our business. So, these markets don't move in the same cycle that auto or industrial does. So it's a nice revenue diversity, which is very, very attractive for a business to have in terms of top line resilience. So I would, again, put defense kind of in between auto and industrial. We'll know more about that coming into next year.
And actually, perhaps a related question for me. This question is, MicroVision had 6.1 million inventory on 6/30, and this number has gone up on the 9/30 balance sheet. Where are these sensors? What happened to them? And what's the plan? And why the stockpile without sales? So let me answer that question, because I think this just adds context to what you just described. We have built this inventory for MOVIA L from the ZF automotive grade quality product line in France. And I think this was in anticipation of the demands from the industrial customers, which was ultimately fueling our visibility of the $30 to $50 million pipeline. We still think that while there are some delays, but as the opportunities open up for LCAS and some of the attractive price points, because I think the single most important price point that I think we're very excited about at the price at which you can sell these sensors to the customers, because we are significantly lower than the nearest competitor. And I think as we sort of build up our commercial organization and bring on quality people and build out the sales team, we do expect to see traction on the revenue side from this inventory that's being built up to translate into revenue next year, just from MOVIA L. And obviously MOVIA S is expected to be started up next year, but this is in anticipation of the sales that we can get to next year from the commercial traction that we have gotten since Glenn has come on board. Next question. Does the Scantinel acquisition replace Maven, or is it complementary? And is FMCW technology better than TOF? How does the Scantinel product compare with Ava, which is the nearest FMCW product in the market?
So 3 questions. So it doesn't replace Maven. Those are complementary, not in conflict. And where Maven really shines is, kind of that 50 to 200 meter range, where Scantinel's tech shines is in really more the 50 to up to a kilometer. And so, but for commercial vehicle applications, we really look more at 400 meters and those kind of numbers. So they're very complementary technologies, not just, a replacement or overlapping. In terms of FMCW and, kind of what you have to think, not so much where it's better than time of flight or one is better than the other. It's more about what is each one really good at. And time of flight has certainly some advantages for our shorter range detection. Works very well. We can use, in many cases, off-the-shelf components, and so we can get to a lower cost point sooner. FMCW, on the other hand, has, as we talked earlier tonight, has some really attractive performance with eye safety, inclement weather, range, as well as transmission through the glass, and then the inherent measurement of velocity with the waveform. So at the end of the day, they offer different pros and cons, but that's why having all three, MAVIN or MOVIA, MAVIN, and now Scantino is really an advantage for us. And then ultimately, our goal has to be how do we then bring down that cost of the FMCW technology so that it can ultimately get onto pass cars and not just on CV or higher cost applications. In terms of how it compares with AVA, I'm going to hold off on that particularly for the short term as we kind of finish our plans. We'll come out later this year with a much more detailed description of what our Scantino, what the MicroVision Scantino product will look like, how it performs, and be able to compare it head to head. But I can say that the thing that impressed me about what the Scantino team had done was the work they had done to get it into basically a single photonic IC, and again, getting to wafer level packaging for really the whole imaging head unit or the imaging part of the system. So I think that's the part that's exciting. We'll talk a lot more about that in the future, but that's the work the team is doing right now, pulling those plans together.
Thanks, Glenn. Next question is about the AR vertical. Does the company have any plans to update investors on the status of the vertical? And is the technology being actively marketed to potential customers? And there has been talks of HoloLens 3 launching in 2026. Is MicroVision tech in HoloLens 3?
Yeah, I'll maybe start with the last question first. Not to our knowledge. And that's consistent with the fact that we're really not actively pursuing AR-related markets at this time. We have the IP, we have capability. We'll kind of monitor those. But right now, if you think about our resources and where we're allocating our capital, it's really in the three verticals that we've talked about with industrial, defense, and automotive. And AR is always an interesting topic. At this point, we're just watching to see, can that be interesting for us? But there's no active development or pursuits in that space as of today.
Thanks, Glenn. Next question. Each MicroVision CEO can be seen as failing. The promise of the MicroVision technology was not realized by any CEO. Will Glenn carry us to the promised land, and how? How does Glenn propose to succeed where all others have failed, and by what measure should you be held accountable, and within what time frame?
Yeah. So great question. I would kind of put this in the context, not necessarily of just MicroVision. I would kind of broaden the context to the whole industry. You look across the industry, and it has, if you think back to that exciting time that I talked about in 2015, 16, 17, kind of the late teens, where there was a lot of optimism and very great expectations around where LiDAR would go. And the reality is we haven't realized those expectations so far. And as I mentioned in my remarks, the issue has been cost. It's just an expensive system, and at the end of the day, if you can't afford to put it on your product, you figure some other way to do it. Like I said, vision or radar, ultrasonics, or something else. But I am confident, and again, this is why taking on the role of CEO of MicroVision was so interesting for me. I am confident that when I look at what we did with radar, and I look at what we do with vision systems and early ADAS systems, we can do the same thing with LiDAR. There's really no reason not to. LiDAR is a brilliant sensor technology, and it works just perfectly with radar and vision. That trimodal package gives you the highest performing perception system. Now, it's up to us, though, to drive the cost down such that it can fit into the budget of the vehicles or the platforms that want to use it. And that's what we're doing. Now, we're not going to take 25 years to do it like radar did. First radar I was involved with was back in 2000. And 25 years later, 140 million. Well, we're not going to take that long. We need to do it now and really, achieve that market penetration, maybe not to 140 million by 2033 or 4, but really get on that growth curve where we're accelerating the adoption and we're on the path to mass adoption for the technology. And as I look at the team we have with MicroVision and the IP and the technologies we have, I'm very confident this team can deliver that. And so, what measures are there for me as CEO? Well, it starts with, are we hitting the product milestones that we talked about? We talked about a launch of MOVIA S in Q4. We talked about LCAS in Q2. With MOVIA L, we've talked to, the Scantino plans. And we have to deliver on those. We have to hit those dates with the right content, with the right product, and the right technologies at the right cost to be able to move the market. The other part is we have to be able to convert from showing great technology to commercial contracts. And that's why we're strengthening the commercial team with Fraser and his guys, and he'll be adding to his team to make sure we have the right sales motion to be able to convert to contract. And that has to be reflecting in backlog, bookings over the course of next year and into 27, and a robust and a really resilient backlog, volume that doesn't go away. And so, that's what my board, all my bosses will be looking at. Ultimately, our goal is always, hey, we have to be able to drive shareholder value by delivering and driving customer value. And I'm convinced we have the team to do it. We have the dates in place when we got to do what, and now it's a matter of execution. And so that's, as CEO, that's what I have to focus on. And then share progress with this group, the shareholders and the analysts along the way to give you confidence that we're on track. So I think we have a good plan. We have a good team. Now it's about executing.
Thanks, Glenn. We are over time, but maybe I'll take one last question. And it's a tough one, so maybe that's why I want to answer this question. Why did the company sell so many shares and cause dilution in the last 6 months? And how do we plan to sustain the company? The reason why I call this a tough question is because I do get a lot of emails and concerning emails from investors. And while I realize that, because I myself am a shareholder in the company, but I think what I would like to take the credit on behalf of MicroVision management and the board is the reason why we are here talking to you guys, and you have seen the others, the mighty have fallen. It just sort of represents the ethos of what this company has been all about. We have been very disciplined. We have been able to fund the company, and we have been fortunate enough to attract people like Glenn. I mean, having somebody like Glenn and the senior executives he's bringing to the table, it's kind of never happened in this company's history. And to have people like Glenn leading us through this time is sort of a statement which I think we can as a company be proud of, because no other company has an experienced professional or a resume and experience like Glenn. And that's why I'm very confident more than ever of what the future looks like, because we have the priorities right, to not make the best product, but to make the most efficient product for customers at the price point that will drive the volumes. And part of, the tough part is you have to, incur dilution in the initial phases to have that runway, to have that stability, to attract, talent. And also keep in mind, this is a game about customer stability, because I have been here 4 years, and in my 4 years, the number of LiDAR companies which are now I can call competitors, I can literally count them on my single hand. Before I joined 4 years ago, there were so many companies. And I think this will continue to change. And I think I continue to iterate. This is a game of, the survival of the fittest, and, the guy who will survive this game. And I think our financial position puts us in a very good position of standing. And also our, continued partners who, the high trail guys who have continued to help us as well to get to this point. So I am very confident, and we can perhaps see the increasing positions in our institutional investor holdings, which is also a representation of the fact that we are here to stay. We are here for the long run, which is why I'm very excited. And maybe last comment I will make is, the recent financing for AVA, the debt funding, actually is a very positive sign for the entire industry. That actually tells you that the quality of credit investors and the quality of credit is actually increasing, with more significantly large institutions coming to play in the LiDAR sector, which just means that the business and the sector itself is gradually becoming or moving up the chain from equity financing, up convertible to, someday in future debt flow finance, and we would be having revenue growth and cash flow. So all in all, while dilution is painful, but I think it is the necessary tool to put us in a spot where we can compete and have a future which is truly, truly bright. With that, I would like to thank everybody. I know we went over the hour mark, but we look forward to chatting with you at our year-end call early next year. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. This concludes today's conference. All parties may disconnect and have a great day.
That was a very interesting call. What do you think? I've covered quite a few earning calls, and every single one was different. Every single one was different. There's not like a structure. I don't want to say. It's not like a recipe for an earnings call or a recipe for a good earnings call. And I think this one was good in its way as well, because we got the retail investors could ask their questions. They got answered as well. So some of them were quite harsh, but that's the nature of the beast. They came out and they wanted the investors to ask these questions. They were not shy. They didn't shy away from these harsh questions, and I quite like it. The new CEO strikes me as fairly honest, and I mean he's a new CEO. He's a new one in the position, so he'll be full of energy. He'll be full of optimism. He'll be well upbeat. Let's see on the next earnings call. I would like to see their progress through this quarter and what's going to happen, what updates we're going to hear on the next earnings call. The financial situation, I mean, we still have a good runway. What impresses me is the aerospace, whether it's drones or aerospace itself. That's a massive market, and I like how the company is diversifying. So we don't have only automotive, we don't have only cars and forklifts and warehouses. We also have sports application. We have now drones. Drone industry is massive, and excuse me, MicroVision is American-based company. American drone market, American drone industry is got massive push, massive bump by the current Trump administration. So I can see a good good venture in there that could pay off in few years. So what do you think? Let me know in the chat. I'll close the poll. I'll close the poll as well, so we see the investor sentiment. Listening to the earnings call, is MicroVision a buy, hold, or sell? I'll give you 10 more seconds to close it, to cast your last votes, and then we're gonna have a look at the chat. Not a massive reaction on the closing bell and on the after the closing bell and on the numbers coming out and on the guidance, but I think it's probably a good sign because we don't see a sell-off, we don't see a negative reaction, we don't see an overreaction, so that's good. So I'm closing the poll now. I could see last 2 votes coming in. That's great, I love it. So let's have a look at this. Listening to the earnings call, is MicroVision a buy, hold, or sell? 43% of you is saying it's a buy, 36% undecided, 21% wants to hold, and nobody mentions a sell. It's very important to mention it's an early, well, it's not an early day startup, but it's a startup. They are still in the early revenue phase, and we could see it on the balance sheet, we could see it on their income as well, on their revenue. What somebody suggested in the chat, it costs you $1.08 is less than your daily beer consumption. I love it. So I'm quite intrigued. I don't want to go crazy, but I might, when I get some spare cash from my eVTOL stock market trades, or at the end of the month, I will probably deploy some and let it sit in there, like buying, I don't know, 50 shares and let it sit in there and see how the company develops through this quarter, and have a good comparison of this quarter, third quarter, and the fourth quarter as well. Again, this is not financial advice, it's just my own opinion. I'll be looking. Beer is expensive. Yes, I agree, Joey. Beer is expensive, especially in the UK. So let's have a look in the chat. What were your comments? What were your observations? And then we will wrap it up. Tomorrow, I'll try to go live with eVTOL market news and updates with my eVTOL daily show, and I will try to find a story of the day, and then we will have the Surf and Mobility, another eVTOL market related stock earnings, and we'll go live before the closing bell. Joey says it was just one question. Yeah, I made it too. Sorry, mate. Abby, well, maybe they will at least answer one where they didn't. Stephen is here. Thank you for joining from your holidays. Hopefully you are having a good time. Polish Independence Day today as well. Polska Górom. Poland on top. Expectations and opportunities, says Zach. Cedar says EV tax credits coming to an end, plus expensive LiDAR products being added to vehicles is a bad combo. Increased cost to the customer and decreased margins for automaker. Great opinion. Abby says vehicles are way out of control cost-wise. It's about become a display of wealth. Abby says it's 1 o'clock somewhere. I love it. Zach, Mavin, and a MEMS-based long-range sensor capable of small object detection, and MOVIA, a flash-based short to mid-range sensor. Cedar says, I'm hoping for a spicy Tesla question. We didn't get one. And we know Elon Musk is against LiDAR on his Teslas. He wants to have cameras, he wants to have visual. It's got its positives, it's got its negatives. Same as any single technology. LiDAR has no doubt its negatives as well, one of which is the cost. Cedar, now that's a great question. Yes, that was a very great question with that product price comparison. And what was the other one? There were quite good questions. There were quite few good questions. Maybe a plug and MicroVision partnership in the future. Maybe. Abby says, just think how cool a backup camera was Back. All right. Yeah. Not many years ago. Yeah. It's it's just the technology is wow. Yeah. And it will be faster and faster and better and better. And yeah. All contracts and cooperation between companies is positive, says Zach. Yes, I agree. Joey, I'm interested to know what you think since you said you are new to learning about MicroVision. Well, I had them on my watch list. I was invested in MicroVision at one point. I think I had like 100 shares. I liked it. I liked it. I will see if I have some spare cash to deploy. I wanna buy MicroVision and I wanna hold it and I wanna see the quarter over quarter development. I wanna be here in January and bring you the fourth quarter and the financial year 2025 and see the progress and track the progress with you. Beer is expensive nowadays. Yes, it is, Joey. Right, so I will wrap it up. I will send myself to bed because I haven't slept much recently. And I need to be fit. I need to be ready for tomorrow. So what is MicroVision doing? Let's quickly go through the markets. Let's go through the big markets. S&P is flat. Nasdaq is down 0.3%. Bitcoin, XRP and Ethereum still going down today. Gold slightly pushing up. Silver up. What is MicroVision doing? Holding at $1.06. Do you think we're gonna have a green day or red day tomorrow for MicroVision? That could easily sell off. Joby is steady after the closing bell. Archer looks like it wants to push up. Very interesting. Archer looks like it wants to push up. And I know Cedar Trees, he sent me a big parallel channel, which is coming out very obvious now. It's coming out as very obvious. Let's delete this. So it's not contaminating. And basically, I mean, I've almost done it here. No. Hang on. On the wrong scale. Right, we've got this. There's potentially this nice parallel channel from this low. No. Oh, we've broken through it. How have you... Hang on. What am I doing? Archer. Are you sure you sent me the right chart? Hang on. I'm doing something wrong. I'm just comparing my chart to see this chart. 1462. You've got this low in here. Where are we? Hang on. I need to get to the bottom of that. 740. You've got an old chart, don't you? October, no. I've got something wrong in here. Was my... Oh, I see. You've got this bottom here. Okay, fair enough. Got this bottom here. Okay, and that's copying these highs in here. Very good. I'm with you now. Yes, so we might be forming this nice parallel channel. It's a very good point. That is a very good point. Thanks for that. Thanks for the insights. See, I love to join you in the chat. I love to engage with you because nobody is perfect. I can't be right all the time, can I? And I love to learn from you. What is Vertical doing? Vertical after hours. Push. Push, 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 push. That's good. I think we might copy this nice trend line in here. That would be good. I can't wait for the flight. I can't wait for the flight. Not for a trade, but for the good news for the company as well. Because I want them to beat Archer to their piloted flight, to their piloted fully VTOL flight. EHang closed at $16.22. We're not getting overnight data for them. Hover Horizon Aircraft closed at $2.01. Eve Air Mobility closed at $4.41. And Beta keeps pushing up after hours. That's great. That is great. Okay, so let's answer your last questions. Joey says, I also hope NVIDIA goes above 200 tomorrow. Also, hopefully it reaches 215 come earnings. I have 86 shares of that at 117 average. Congratulations, Joey. I tell you what, Joey, next Wednesday we are covering NVIDIA, and I will be here. I will be here with full analysis of the company. I will be here with a full chart analysis, not by me, but by our chart expert Sensei. I might do one as well, so we can compare our results. But next week we are covering NVIDIA. This is this week. We have a lot of earnings. I'm covering the afternoon ones. So tomorrow we have Surf Air Mobility, operator of eVTOL aircraft. We are talking about this. The flying taxis, electric aircraft, and more. Thursday, we've got Virgin Galactic for Zach, our biggest, probably the biggest. No, he's not the biggest retail. He might be the biggest retail investor now, but the biggest enthusiast and the most dedicated retail investor of vertical aerospace in the world. So we are bringing Virgin Galactic on Thursday. That will be big. That will be big. That could be some good update. And then next week I will be covering NVIDIA on Wednesday. On Monday after hours we have, let me just zoom in a bit. Oh, we have Ecom. That's probably what I'm gonna cover, but I don't know yet. Maybe somebody else requests something. That's not set in stone. I just picked Ecom because it's the foundation member of the LA 28 Olympics, and we know LA 28 Olympics are gonna be very big time affecting the eVTOL market and eVTOL industry. So that's one of the reasons why I'm covering this. After hours on Tuesday, there's nothing. If you want to request anything, that's up to you. On Wednesday we have NVIDIA after hours. That's the main event. Nobody can beat that. Even if, well, maybe if you super chat $200, that would push you in front of NVIDIA. But in NVIDIA, and then on Thursday after hours, again, everything is open. Nothing I would prefer, nothing I would like to do. So if you see any stocks you are interested in, it's a members perk. It will cost you $10 to lock it in, but we can cover it for you. So I think MicroVision share price is 2,000. What? Do it for yourself. What are you talking about? I think MicroVision share price in 2000 was 512. That could be a dilution. That could be I think they have gone through one dilution. A reverse stock split. There could be certain practices. Don't look at the chart. It's not. It tells you nothing. That tells you nothing. 2000. That's 25 years ago when the company IPO'd. Was it an IPO or was it acquisition? What? Are we? NASDAQ listed. It says NASDAQ listed. 1996. US military contract in 1998. In 2011, they started LiDAR R&D. Partnering with Sony, 2014. Microsoft contract HoloLens 2. Martyn unveiled at IAA Mobility, and then they joined with IBO Automotive. MicroVision joins forces with IBO. Introduction of MOVIA S A sample 2025. So there we go. See, all we can do is read data, metrics, and react. Charts are not perfect, but they can give us conviction in our trade and investment ideas. Yes, I agree, and I love to connect the chart with the fundamentals and with the sentiment in the market. I know. So the best of the two worlds. I love it. I love it. Right. Okay. Joey says, should have bought more, to be honest, at the time, but it was during tariff uncertainties. Well, you never know. You never know. It could have gone even lower. NVIDIA, well, all stock market took a hit. It's hindsight now, isn't it? We never know. Oh, I should have bought that. I should have bought that. I should have bought NVIDIA when it was $4. I should have bought Tesla when it was $1. Should have bought Bitcoin when it was 90 cents. You never know. You never know. We can only learn. We can learn as much as Cedar says. We can only read the data and learn and do our due diligence. And that's it. Make our decisions based on that. Right. That's it from me. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm glad we got some new subscribers along with us and new members as well as of today. Thank you very much again. I will see you tomorrow afternoon, if not afternoon, on the closing bell. Don't forget tomorrow morning, tune into Sensei's show a couple of hours before the market open. Cedar says also, what happened to tech stocks and startups in 2000s? Wasn't the best time to the IPO. Yeah, good point. And Joey says, I should have capitalized on the housing market crash in 2008, but I was too busy being 10. I love it. That's great. That's great. Right. It's time to wrap it up. Thank you again for joining me. Tomorrow morning, Sensei, and then I'll be back in the afternoon before the closing bell. Take care. That's it from me. Take care of yourselves and each other.